Over the Thanksgiving holiday, the USS Kitty Hawk and its fleet of support ships were refused a planned port call in Hong Kong. There's debate over why China did it, but any way you spin it, the snub was a troubling signal. Military analyst Andre Chang says, the situation in the Taiwan Strait is at its highest risk since the end of the Cold War. It is relaxed on the surface, but extremely tense underneath. Sooner than later, Communist China wants to crush and absorb Taiwan, an island nation on the mainland's east coast. While America sees Taiwan as a democracy, China sees Taiwan as a renegade province. The United States is the main obstacle in their way. Some of our research universities may be helping China get ready to take Taiwan by force, if necessary. More on that later. For nearly 60 years, Washington has promised Taiwan we would come to its aid if attacked by Communist China. How much help we will provide is open to debate. Pressure is mounting in Taiwan to assert independence and seek admission to the UN. If that happens, Communist China will be forced to act or appear weak to the world. But if China blockades Taiwan trade, and if it can force the United States to renege on its pledge to help defend Taiwan, China will look strong and the U.S. will look weak. The People's Liberation Army and Navy know they can't defeat the U.S. head-to-head in a war. So they have a strategy toward the U.S. called asymmetrical warfare. They attack us where we are the weakest. That, they've concluded, is our massively computerized and satellite-controlled society and economy. They know our military forces are dependent on space-based command and control of everything from troop movements to cruise missiles and smart bombs. China is also working hard to master cyber warfare, the ability to hack and disrupt our internet-based economy. If our satellites and computer grid were disrupted, the consequences would be as devastating as a nuclear attack without the death and destruction. Air travel would completely shut down if our satellites and computers aren't operating. ATM machines and bank branches couldn't function, so you couldn't withdraw your money. You couldn't buy gas because self-service pumps operate through satellite connections. Water supplies and sewage treatment plants would stop working. Toilets will be backed up from coast to coast. Our power grid would shut down. Our nights would be totally dark. War-weary Americans would demand that Washington let China do what it wants with Taiwan. Through academic exchanges and espionage, China has copied what we've learned about space-based weapons and advanced weapons of war. For instance, this delegation from Harbin Institute of Technology visited the University of Michigan in the spring of 2007, seeking data on fiberglass casings for sea-launched ballistic missiles. Xinhua, the official Chinese news agency, quoted Chinese military analyst Wang Hucheng as saying, "American dependence on space constitutes the U.S. military's soft ribs and strategic weaknesses." Wang added, "For countries that can never win a war with the United States by using the methods of tanks and planes, attacking the U.S. space system may be an irresistible and most tempting choice." The peace-at-any-price kumbayayas and doves who refuse to believe the communist regime of China might be up to no good have a hard time facing this fact. The Chinese blew one of their own satellites out of the sky in January 2007 in a clear demonstration of their space warfare skill. Rick Fisher is a military and global security analyst at the International Assessment and Strategy Center.
The anti-satellite exercise of January 2007 was a direct result of Chinese espionage and their ability to obtain American missile technology. And now we face a very real threat. So much of our military operations around the globe depend on satellite connectivity. We could not deploy our forces, let's say, to help defend Taiwan without secure satellite connections. American military technology is now being used to threaten our ability to carry forth our interest in defending democracy on Taiwan.
University of Michigan aerospace engineering professor Bill Kaufman, an outspoken critic of his university's headlong rush to share technology knowledge with the Communist Chinese, notes his department recently hosted a Chinese scientist with a specific interest.
Recently we had a postdoc whose specialty was orbits and trajectories, and this is how objects go around in space. And we have a faculty member who is interested in that. And she came over as a postdoc to study under him, but one aspect of orbits and trajectories is not going to Mars, but it's missile defense and it's ASAT, anti-satellite weaponry.
He's talking about Yu Zhaohong. She came to Michigan to collaborate on research with Professor Daniel Shears, a specialist in orbits and trajectories which relate to planets and asteroids. Orbits and trajectories also happen to be challenges in designing reliable anti-satellite weapons for space warfare. According to his own online bio, Dr. Shears made several scientific presentations in China in 2006. One of them was at the Harbin Institute of Technology, widely known as one of China's top military research universities. We don't know if Shears encountered Yu Zhaohong while he was lecturing in China, but we do know about 6 months later she settled in this office at the University of Michigan North Campus to collaborate on space research with Dr. Shears for several months. If you search Yu Zhaohong on the internet, you discover she's co-authored several technical papers on anti-satellite warfare, including a paper on KKV, kinetic kill vehicles, the kind China used in January 2007 to destroy one of its orbiting satellites. Dr. Shears didn't respond to phone calls and emails about Yu Zhaohong. Through a university public relations staffer, he denied knowing anything about her military background. But we do know her space warfare research is part of a Chinese communist strategy to force the United States to break its promise to Taiwan and to pave the way for China to dominate all of Asia.
First, they need to eliminate the democratic government on Taiwan, the only Chinese society in the history of all of civilized China to have chosen and created a democratic polity. They want to destroy it, probably within the next decade. When they do that, they will then prove to Japan, the Koreas, to Australia, and to all others who need to know that the United States is a paper tiger, in Mao's famous phrase.
It's hard for the Pentagon to hold China at bay when our research universities keep showing them how to match or counter our advanced weaponry. Some people in Washington worry about that.
That we have increasingly lost our lead and superiority as a result of China's deliberate acquisition of our key technologies. As it relates to the defense of the Taiwan Strait, I think that the DoD establishment is very concerned as it relates to that technology-centric war and whether or not the technologies that we've built today will actually be able to defeat the technologies that China will bring to fight in that type of a situation if we ever get to that circumstance.
In coming months, watch which Washington politicians try to weaken the Taiwan Relations Act. You'll know who's been bought with Chinese campaign contributions through helpful U.S. companies. Those politicians should be voted out of office. China wants to kick us out of Asia, which just happens to be the hottest region of the globalized economy. If we look the other way while the Communist Chinese rape Taiwan, India, Japan, South Korea, Australia, and the rest of that region will rightly conclude the dragon is more powerful than the eagle. If America reneges on 5 decades of promising Taiwan we would help if it is attacked by China, it could mean the sunset of the U.S. as the world's superpower. I'm Vince Wade. This is our country.